So, hello, lovely people. My name is Rohit, and I welcome you all to the Certify podcast. In this podcast series, we invite our experts and we talk about the intricate landscape of IoT security. We explore the risks, vulnerabilities, and the solutions which are shaping the connected devices. Today, we have the privilege of hosting Francesca. She is a consulting project manager at engineering in Rome. Welcome to the show, Francesca.
Thank you for this invitation. Morning, everyone.
So, Francesca, I looked up your profile and you have had a long, illustrious career of around 17 years. And I'm pretty sure you have been at multiple roles, positions, and organizations, and also took up various responsibilities along this career. Would you be kind to take us on this journey, what you have so far?
Yeah, sure. Well, my experience, as you mentioned, Rohit, started some years ago. I started as a functional analyst in engineering. So after my degree in engineering, as a management engineering, I started as functional analyst. And then my role is evolved during the years, because I started with the management of some specific task in European projects. And actually, I'm a project manager in engineering. And I had also the opportunity to, let me say, develop some experience in exploitation activities for these projects. So what actually I'm doing is the management of the projects inherent to the cybersecurity. So in my group, I follow different projects that operate in the domain of cybersecurity. And for these projects, I follow also the exploitation activities. So this means that I try to support, let me say, the partners involved in the project to analyze the key exploitable results developed in the project and try to analyze the impact of that these results could have for the project, but also for the futures of the specific organization, talking by individual exploitation plan, but also by of joint exploitation plan. This means that I support partners also to define future collaboration to exploit the results of a specific research project. Okay. So this is my role in engineering.
And at what stage do you get involved in these projects? Do you also participate in writing proposals for these research projects?
Yeah, my role starts with the, let me say, definition of the proposal. So I'm involved in the proposal preparation. So my role starts with the definition of the consortium, let me say, building of this consortium, because there are a lot of interest. It's difficult, especially at the beginning of the proposal preparation, to find the different role that is necessary to involve in a project. So this is my preliminary role, in particular if we, as engineering, coordinate the proposal. In other case, if we are not the coordinator, I try to define our role in the proposal. So I try to define internally the main contribution that we can offer to the proposal, and in this sense try to involve the right person to the contribution of the proposal, but also to follow the activities in the case in which the proposal win. So we have to follow any project.
Right. In my experience, writing proposal, the hardest part, as you briefly mentioned also, when you are a project coordinator and then you have to build a whole consortium, because It's quite challenging because every partner brings in their own skills and capabilities and solutions, and then you have to fit around all these different pieces of the puzzle and then write the proposal.
Yeah, I think that the main the difficult part is inherent the definition of the effort of the different partner and of the budget. Let me say, because we have to define a specific budget that depends by the rule in the project, but that in some cases has to vary based on the PM cost of the specific organization. So this is, I think, the main difficult part, because when we talk about the content, how we can be aligned to the call that we are responding to, I think that is the most innovative part, where you can imagine a future, because we are talking about a research project in some case. So about area in some cases, in other cases an innovation action. So you start from something that you have developed in other projects or in what you are working on, and you imagine how to evolve a specific tool, for example. So this is the most grateful part. Then when we have to define effort and budget, I think that is the most stressful part, because start the exchanging of email where we and the calls, especially the calls.
Yeah, but definitely.
It's funny.
Yeah, and when you write these proposals, submit these proposals, do you target a particular funding cause or funding framework? Like, do you submit these proposals for Bohara?
In general, actually, we are working for the proposal submission for the Horizon Europe, and in particular the CS calls from my group. But as you know, in engineering, there are different groups that working in different areas. So engineering covers through the research project different area, so try to respond, let me say, and participate in different proposal preparation. So in my case, I follow the CS call, so digital security domain.
Right. And then the focus is on the cybersecurity, but cybersecurity is quite a big domain. So is there any specific areas that you focus on while writing these research proposals?
Yeah, in general, when we participate in this proposal as group, we follow a specific area that is connected to the vulnerability analysis and risk assessment. And also we are now specializing in IDS, IPS, so intrusion detection and intrusion prevention system, working in different domain. And one of these domains is the IoT, as in Certify project.
Right. Yeah, you are the partner in Certify project also. And what is your contribution there at, ENG in the Certify consortium?
Well, in this project, as you know, but it's new for the others, we follow a specific task that is about the implementation of intrusion detection and prevention system. So we are collaborating with other partners to the definition of the frameworks that we are developing in Certify, and that cover different phases of the of this IoT environment, starting by the design and following through the bootstrapping and commissioning and security upgrades, and a specific link with data sharing through the security solution. This is very relevant because in Certify we have different pilots. So we are considering different needs and peculiarities that are specific for the different use case. that we have in this project. So I think that we can talk about a complex system where we have to try to respond to the specific request of the specific pilot, trying to be aligned, let me say, in the project in general. So try to implement something that could be aligned for all the pilots involved, and that in some cases have a specific characterization that depends by the specific pilot.
Okay, yeah. And in the Certify project, I know that it's quite ambitious, because in the Certify project, we aim to secure these IoT devices during the complete life cycle, as you mentioned, the different phases: bootstrapping, operational, decommissioning, software update, and the design phase. So in all these phases, we want to secure these IoT devices, and you bring in this IDS, IPS, and other components in different stages. So I feel that it's quite ambitious goals that we have in this project.
Yeah.
And it addresses a lot of the challenges which are out there at this point for IoT devices, or in general, the challenges for IoT security.
Yeah, we are trying to respond, let me say, to the 3 top challenges as we can define in IoT security. So the device vulnerabilities, the data privacy and security, and the scalability of security measures. This means that in Certify projects, we are trying to developing system, a framework that try to respond to these 3 main challenges. This is based for sure on 3 main, let me say, solution technologies that try to address these IoT security challenges. And I'm referring to the end-to-end encryption, the device authentication and access control, and the IoT frameworks and standards, because as you know, is a very important, try to be adherent to the industrial standards, and that means to the ISO and to the NIST IoT security guidelines.
In the Certify project, we are the leader of dissemination and communication activities, and we are doing also some joint exploitation plan. And you also mentioned about that in your role at ENG, you take care of these activities as well. So in terms of how do you measure the success and impact of a research project once the project is done, what impact it's going to have, and if this project was successful or not, how do you measure that?
Well, first of all, I think that during a project it's important to analyze if we are talking about economical impact or a scientific impact, because this is strictly dependent by the specific also project. Because if we talk about an innovation action, so if we talk about something that is almost ready and that has to be improved for the market, probably in that case we can discuss about the economical aspect of the results and how the organization could obtain a specific impact in terms, for example, of creation of a specific startup that is based on the specific tool prototype that the organization is realizing through the project. In other case, I think that is important, especially when we are referring to specific partner that work in the research as a university or something similar. In that case, it's important when they say, okay, for us, we are not involved in the exploitation. I say no, because we have another opportunity. That is the scientific exploitation of the result. This means that you are conducting a project, you are obtaining a result, and that you have to invest to evolve this result, because as you know, the world change continuously. So when we talk about evolution, this is referring not only to the market, because the market try to respond to the specific needs that come from the real world, and to respond to the specific needs, we need the scientific activities. So I think that is that we have a correlation between these different type of impact. So I try to involve the partners of the project to analyze and to think, let me say, because as you know, in the research project, sometimes we are a lot involved in technical activities. So we have a work package where we have to develop something, and we are trying to respond to what we had written in the proposal. So we have no time to think about the futures of the results. So my rule is to push, to underline the relevance of the exploitation, because this will be the initial phase of another project, of a new initiative, of a new collaboration. So when I talk about care, so a key exploitable result, this is not a specific tool that we are developing in a project, but is the result of the collaboration, of the integration, of the different tools that we are integrating in the project. So I try to be, let me say, I'm trying to be to support the people and partners to understand this relevant aspect, this relevant the relevance of these activities.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, in my experience as well, in these project consortiums, we have research partners and as well big industries and small and medium scale industries. So it's a little bit quite challenging, and each partner has different kind of activities and goals in terms of exploitation plans and exploitation activities. In general, for any research project, what kind of different exploitation activities do you perform?
Yeah, I think that, that sometimes there is a sort, let me say, of confusion between the exploitation plan that in general reports what the organization, for example, engineering, is proposing in terms of exploitation of results, but we are talking about a large amount of activities. So is something of big, let me say, but we have to contextualize the specific exploitation to the specific group that is following the developing of a specific tool. So I think that we have to start for sure with the general exploitation plan, but try to characterize the general exploitation plan in a specific exploitation plan that is inherent to what you are doing in the project. So I think that this means that we have in some way tried to improve the collaboration with the business unit that follows this type of activities, because starting from the result of a research project, we can in some way try to give a new input to the list of assets, let me say, that the organization is proposing, or proposing a new point of view. That I think that is also relevant, because in some cases we are focalized in our activities, in what we are proposing, and we are not, let me say, having a look around, but we have to open our mind and try to respond to a specific need that probably the answer to this need comes from an activities, the result of an activities of a research project.
Definitely, yeah. And because these projects are long projects for 3 years or 3.5 years, so the requirements change, the needs change, and the assets what the partners had proposed in the proposal also change. So then you have to adapt to these things. In the Certify project, we worked with Horizon Result Booster, which is kind of a program from European Union for joint exploitation activities. Do you also have experience?
Yeah, I have experience with the Horizon Booster in three projects. In one case, I have participated as a partner of the consortium, so I didn't follow the specific activities. In the other two projects, I was the reference person for the request of the Horizon Booster, and in particular of the services PDSC. So the specific services of the Horizon Booster, where some experts give you support to analyze your exploitation activities and try to involve these exploitation activities, supporting you in the definition of good business planning.
Right.
And yeah. I think that is a very relevant support that we receive by the European Commission, because when we talk about this expert, when we organize some workshop, because as you know, we have in some way try to collaborate with the expert that give us some inputs. These inputs are elaborating in specific documents. So there is a continuous collaboration among experts and consortium, and I think that is a good way to involve partners, people of the project, to think about the exploitation. So I think that it's a very useful services. So yeah, I'm totally enthusiastic of using these services because it is very useful.
Yeah, I also had a positive response so far for this HRB in the Certify project. And we had opted for this communication and exploitation activities, joint activities, and there were 5 other projects involved in our consortium. So it has been quite good. Are there any other programs like Horizon Result Booster from the European Commission to help these research projects improve their exploitation aspects or exploitation activities? Do you know any other programs?
No, I don't know other programs. And sometimes, as engineering is member, for example, of EXO, I participate in some webinar workshop in which we receive, let me say, some inputs that come from also from ENISA. So I think that in that moment we try to alert, let me say, our know-how, try to investigate about new potential input, new potential opportunity, but is something that for sure you have to do alone at the end of the webinar, at the end of the workshop. But I think that is relevant.
Right. Yeah, in terms of project management, which is your forte, and you manage these large European research projects, can you share your experience in terms of challenges, the kind of challenges that you face in these project management aspect of these projects?
Well, I think that in principle, we in general follow the PMI methodology to manage this project. But I think that the most relevant aspect of these activities is related to the personal contact with the team you are working with, because I think that is important to create a specific relation between you and your team, because as you know, a project is composed by different parts. and each part is followed in general by a specific person that has experience, that is an expert in that specific activities. This means that a project manager has not the completely know-how to understand what we are doing in the different activities. But what is it's important is try to understand and to align, let me say, the scope of the specific activities, and try to align these different scopes. So this gives you the opportunity to have an overview of the project you are following and of the people that are involved in that project, because the human aspect is very relevant. So I think that what is changed during the years in this sense, in terms of project manager activities, is the relation that there is between the manager and the developer, let me say. That is not a secondary rule. It's the same rule, but we follow different activities. The important is the communication between these different rules and the personal aspect and relation that there is at the base, let me say, of this relation.
Yeah, definitely. I also felt it during Corona time, when we were not able to have these physical meetings for the research projects, which are quarterly or sometimes half-yearly meetings. And you touched upon this human aspect and this personal relationships that you build up during these research projects. I felt that was missing, and it was a little bit difficult. And after Corona time, it has started again, that we have more and more of these physical meetings during our projects, and I think it's better for the success of the project, or during the operation of this project as well.
Yeah.
You might have worked on some, let's say, industrial projects also, or internal projects, where you had developed, or ENG had developed a product for customer. So how do you see the differences in managing a project, a research project, or an industrial project?
I think that the main difference is the timeline that there is in this project, because, as you know, in research projects, we have a scheduled timeline where we define when the activity starts, when the activity, and we have a lot of time to conduct the specific, the different activities. While when we talk about an industrial project, when there is a customer that explains a specific needs, and that you have to try to respond to the specific needs in a specific moment, I think that there is a lot of stress, and these require a lot of work in a minor time. So I think that is different, the approach. In some cases, we have I think that there is an agile approach, let me say, in the industrial projects, and traditional approach in a research project. As research projects member, we have a specific call scheduled in a specific calendar, so we know that that day we will have a call. Okay. If you work in a productive project where we have to mention, as mentioned before, to respond to a specific needs of a user, you cannot forecast some inconvenience, some new needs. So there are a lot of calls that in some cases have not the same duration, so not an hour, but few minutes in some case, but you have to be ready to respond, to try the solution, let me say, because in some cases the entire system could have some negative effect, and this reflects also to the user that are using that specific services. I'm referring to the healthcare system, to the financial system. So I think that is different for sure, the approach, but also the execution of the project.
Right. So in last 3-4 years, your focus has been on IoT technology and IoT security. Are there any other technologies which you find quite interesting and you think that will have quite an impact in coming 15 years or 20 years?
Well, actually, we are focalizing especially in IoT technology because, as you know, we talk about different devices that talk each other, that are part of specific system. So the main problem I see is the relation, let me say, of this IoT device and the artificial intelligence, because we know that there are a list of advantages in using these new technologies, this new approach, let me say, to do something. But I'm a bit worried about the problem that there is around, because even if we have a lot of advantages, let me say in that case, SWOT analysis could be useful to underline the different negative aspect that could arise in the use of this system. So actually, I'm presently involved in IoT security project, but I think that in the future we will talk also about new type of projects, and I think that the problem that could arise will be for sure more critical, more serious, and it's something of useful, we know, but I think that behind positive advantages, there is something that has to be analyzed. I don't want to say negative, but has to be analyzed.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks a lot, Francesca. It was a real pleasure to talk with you on different aspects of project management and IoT security, and also what you are doing in Certify project.
It was a pleasure for me.
Yeah, I wish you a lot of luck for the new research proposals that you are working on. I know there are some calls coming up in November, I guess.
Yeah, the end of November.
End of
In
November,
fact, then this autumn will be a critical autumn because we have a lot of meeting in presence. We are working on a proposal preparation, so I don't know how will be the Christmas time. Probably if we arrive to the Christmas time, I don't know.
Right.
But it's okay. It's our work is also a pleasure because I think that is important and for sure relevant when you do something that you love. So even if you are tired, this is part, let me say, of the of your job. So it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, if you love what you do, it's quite rewarding, even if you have to put a lot of hours.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Francesca. Have a nice day.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.